We are pleased as heck to welcome J Stewart Dixon, also goes by Jeff, but I like to think we're friends and family here too, Jeff or Jay. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. Either one is fine. Thanks, Phil. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on your podcast. Appreciate it, man.
It's my pleasure. And by the way, uh, Jay, we're just gonna call you Jay. Jay is a author of an amazing book called Spirituality for Badasses, which are very enticing title for a guy like me, and also a modern mindfulness teacher, which because that's something that's been around for a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I think I put the word modern in front of it for that reason, because mindfulness goes back to the time of the Buddha, but also because my approach to mindfulness is slightly different, even from the more neuroscientific secular approach to mindfulness. So I'm a little bit more potty-mouthed, irreverent, and humorous about it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I always appreciate that twist on things.
Mm.
Just because it adds some more spice to things in the world. That's just how I grew up. I was always class clown, and I'm a musician and stuff like that. Tell
Yeah.
me a little about your background. I mean, and what brought you to where now mindfulness is kind of one of your key focuses and expert areas of expertise where you help people.
Sure thing. When I was 18, I started to suffer from depression, and like most 18-year-olds, I tried to medicate myself with marijuana and beer. And that was good for a little while, but not good in the long run. And I then tried conventional therapy, a little bit of Prozac. That was not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it just, I felt like I was numbing and cutting and drugging. And then I moved on to, okay, I'll give spirituality a try, and was quite skeptical in the beginning. But lo and behold, I had a few breakthroughs that said to me, okay, there is something to this stuff. I will continue down this path. And long story short, the depression lingered for quite some time, but eventually I was able to. It's been now 11 years since I've been free and clear of the depression. And I should say also, with that, for people listening, that depression came with anxiety attacks. It came with general feelings of stress and unhappiness, and what am I doing here on this planet, and oh my god, life is just not doing it for me. So it was that whole bag of beans, and it was awesome. Spirituality, the way that I approached it, was the cure.
Yeah, that's great. It's certainly a broad topic to say a word like spirituality, because that has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people, and especially on a global scale, as we all know. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas and thought processes and religions and languages on top of that there's some barriers between some of us in some of those ways. But
Yes.
talk to me about boy, there's a lot of places I want to go here with you.
Sure.
You told me before we got started, number one, you're coming to us from New York, right?
No, I'm in Central Virginia. I'm in
Oh, you're in
Charlottesville.
Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not even going to
Yeah.
edit that out. People can see
Oh,
that
that's
I'm
all
an
right.
idiot.
Yeah.
But you're on Eastern time. Okay, so at least I got the time zone right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're coming to us from there, and you have one of the things I want to talk about, because my audience knows I'm a musician too. Talk to me a
Yeah.
little bit about music, and maybe if that's interwoven into this journey as well, because I think you were telling me that you have some background with that too.
I do. Yeah, I think it's all related. All of us, as if you're involved in spirituality, if you're suffering from depression, if you're looking for more fulfillment in life, I think as a as a living, breathing human being, if you run into something that can offer you a salve, can offer you a relief from that depression, then you're going to jump on it. And that's exactly what I did with music when I was in my early 20s and late teens. I got into playing guitar and writing songs, and one thing led to another, And jump forward about 10 years, I had written a full-fledged rock musical, had the thing produced in Washington D.C., in New York City, had videos for it. I was going for it as an artist and as a musician, and it was a great avenue for a great outlet for this inner turmoil that I was feeling. It gave me these great periods of satisfaction, of happiness, of fulfillment. And also, I think it did wonders on my right brain, which is so valuable when you're approaching spirituality, in exercising the right brain, in being in that, Phil, like when you get in the groove, you're on stage, you're with your band members, you're in that zone, and that zone is so cool. A zone is so awesome, and there's similarities. If you can pull the raw essence of that zone out and apply it to your thing, whether that's writing or snowboarding or computer programming or again, being a musician, being in that zone is so amazing and so important. And spirituality is like that. There's a zone that one is trying to achieve, except in this case, there's nothing. It's on its own. You're not relying on a device. You're not relying on a thing. You just want to be in the zone at all times, really. And that doesn't mean that the zone is as powerful as it is, say, when you're on a stage with your band and you're rocking out at 105 decibels and there's an audience of 1,000 people in front of you. It's not like that. But there's another zone that can be had with spirituality and with finding and, really, really meeting and knowing your inner spiritual badass. That is just awesome. And for me, and I think a lot of musicians, a lot of artists will express this notion that being in that zone is just an amazing thing and can be a step toward finding the further, larger, deeper amounts of inner peace, of inner badassery, of calm, of peace, So that's how music affected my life early on and in the beginning, and it was so valuable. I'm really, really appreciative of it. And here's an odd one for you, Phil. When so that as much as I loved music, loved writing a rock musical, and I had a couple other CDs and loved performing live, as much as I loved all that, there just was still something missing.
Yeah.
Damn it. It's like, it just was gnawing at me, and eventually when I got into my 30s, I had to let it go. I was really, really into music and trying to make a career of it and had agents and all the rest of this. And boy, Phil, when I broke up with music, it was hard. It was like I'd been dumped by the most beautiful goddess girlfriend that you'd ever, could have met. And I was, it hurt for quite some time. I just finally gave up on marketing and promoting the musical that I wrote. And I had to take a couple steps back. And one of the laws, one of the I think just universal rules of spirituality and wanting to uncover your inner badass is that Phil, something's got to give.
Yeah.
You've got to make room. Something's got to move, because what you're inviting in with spirituality is something pretty big. And in order for that thing to come into your being, something's got to give. And in my case, it was, okay, I need to let go of seeking through music. I need to let go of trying to fulfill myself, if only for a short while. I needed to let that go, and I did. And then sure enough, when I did that, within a year or so, if I recall my timeline, which I'm not going to exactly right now, a number of big breakthroughs happened for me with mindfulness, with spirituality, with discovering this inner spiritual badass. that I was so grateful for. I was so grateful that I allowed that space to be there in my life, even though it broke my heart. Even though it broke my heart.